Welcome back to Tux Traveler. Well, today we want to spend a little bit of time talking about cooking while you are on the road. Because this raises a concern. If you're out on the road, do you want to be out there eating out all the time, or do you actually want to cook like, maybe like Americans should? I'm not sure that we do. But cooking is very important, and of course I myself cook a whole lot, and so for me, living in the van, I cook way more often than anything else. I want to talk about how you can go ahead and do that. So there's a lot of different options you can do. If you happen to have a way to replenish your batteries and you have a means by which you can run electricity, then you have a variety of things from microwaves. A lot of people now are starting to use some of the air fryers, like the Food Ninjas and things like that. These are actually really good options. For me, they draw a little bit more power than I would like to use on a regular basis, but they are good options. In fact, I do run as one of my cooking means for the electrical. Sorry, the cable got caught on the camera cord there. So I use an induction top. Now, the induction tops are way more efficient than your standard electrical burners. So if you're going to be doing anything with electric for cooking for a top surface, the induction tops are good. This particular one can range in power usage from down to 300 watts all the way up to 1800. So this can peak out my inverter. I have a little bit smaller inverter than many people would have for reasons I've discussed before. But this one here, I generally keep the wattage on this set at 500, which is enough to boil water, cook food, and do anything else I want to do. So in the dead of winter like it is now, I don't use this quite as much because it does draw a lot. But in the summertime, when I'm getting way more hours and more direct sunlight, I'll use this guy way more than I'll use gas because it's basically free energy. The solar panels are replenishing my batteries a couple times a day. And so the induction tops are really good. Now, here is your downside of your induction tops, is you may need to buy new pots and pans. The reason is most pots and pans these days they're going with this lightweight aluminum type stuff. And the way induction works is it uses magnetism. So you want to make sure that your pots and pans respond to magnets. So I actually just went down to a local Goodwill and picked up pans that a magnet will stick to. That happens to be your litmus test for if this pan is going to work with your induction. And what I did is, despite having a lot of pots and pans before, I got rid of those and I swapped them all out for ones that are magnetic, so I can use these on my gas burners and I can also use them on my induction oven. So that way I have a good option either way. And for reference, some of your copper bottom line pans, this one is just like a standard steel one, or your cast iron pans. Those all work well with induction. As long as a magnet sticks to it, it's good. Your stainless steel will not generally work because that is not generally magnetic. And you have a lot of your more common anti-stick pans that you'll buy at the local stores. Those also generally are not going to work. So make sure if you are switching to an induction oven, you have pans that will work. Now let's talk about the way most people use it, is utilizing some form of gas burners. So you can get single or double burners. I have a single burner and I use the dual fuel one. Most of these are going to be dual fuels. You can use propane or butane. So with these guys, it's nice because I can just take the burner, flip it over, and then it stores inside of a storage case. Nice and easy storage, and then I can pull it out. So for me, I don't have this sitting out all the time. I keep it stowed down below until I am ready to use it. Now, when you are using these inside, obviously, you want to make sure that you are using a ventilated space. You give it enough space. Generally, it's recommended to use them outdoors. Or van dwellers, yeah, hey, outdoors is close enough. It's just an open the door. Make sure you have, ready water supplies, fire extinguishers, and maybe even some carbon monoxide detectors. And when you have those set up, then you will be in a pretty safe place. But here is a tip for you. These are dual fuel. You can use your propane, you can use your butane. Do not use butane inside. Butane burns a lot dirtier, and this will produce a lot of carbon monoxide. Propane, not so much. I've actually have had butane set off my carbon monoxide detector cooking inside. I have never had propane set off the carbon monoxide. So I keep a couple of the butanes on stock because these are really, really handy for if I am cooking outdoors. These guys open up, the cartridge goes right inside here, and this guy sets nicely on any individual surface. When I'm cooking inside the van and I have a big bulky tank connected with a hose, it produces a little bit more of a wanky situation that I generally prefer to use that indoors. Propane is cheaper and it does burn a little bit cleaner versus your butane. The better point about your butane is it's more portable in that respect. It will actually burn hotter as well, but I haven't noticed a huge difference. So there's your basic cooking services, and of course we have our bonus. Who does not like making cookies, cinnamon rolls, and things like that? So I have a camp oven. I have never seen these stocked in a store, and when I ordered it on Amazon, I had to wait about 6 weeks for it. So they are hard to find, but they are absolutely amazing. If you like baking, you can get the pre-made cookie mixes from the stores. You can use the cinnamon rolls from the stores. I did that on a video before. And these will work really nicely. Of course, I make my own cookies from scratch here in the van. So showing you how this guy works. It is nice and folded up like this. There are a couple of tabs, one on either side, here and here. And then this guy just opens up like in a little accordion. And I'm not going to be able to put it together for you on camera because there's a lot of pushes and pulls and make sure it's good. But basically on the inside, it has one flap this way. It has another one this way. And your objective is to just lift the guy up. And then there's going to be 4 slots on the top and 4 slots on the bottom. Get those lined up in the slots and then re-hit these to lock it back in place. And then you have a camp oven. Now this guy does not sit on top of the electric. It's going to sit on top of your gas. You put it in the gas, crank it on, and it actually does an amazing job. I do use this quite a bit. I've been making cookies in the van, which from scratch, which is really nice. And so this will allow me to cook breads, anything that needs an oven, but generally I wouldn't try cooking like chicken or something that requires baking in an oven for like 45 minutes or so. I think that would probably overrun my my limits here. But with that being said though, this is certainly an awesome option to have inside your van. You can buy the cinnamon rolls, you can buy cookies, and all sorts of other things like that. So there are the different options you have for cooking, just the ones that I personally am using. There are some other options. Obviously, some people do use microwaves. I've never really used a microwave much anyway, so I didn't need to worry about that, but it is an option. There are, of course, if you have a full RV or you're building something custom and you want to specifically need it, you can actually get a huge propane oven. Those are options as well, which are good options if that's something that you want on a regular basis. If you're doing something like that, you're going to want to have a better propane solution than just getting the 1-pound tanks. But those will last me quite a while in here, and I'm happy with those. So those are the options and the methods that I use to cook inside of the van. And hopefully that will help you out if you're planning ahead. And I do recommend having a few different options out there. So if you're out there working on cooking and you're low in electricity, you need to have that gas as a backup. If you're usually using your gas and something goes bad, having the electric as a backup is not a bad plan either. So there are your different options. Of course, there are other weird little emergency things. Like in the back somewhere, I do have one of the emergency Coleman single burner stoves. you know, 1 or 2 uses out of the little tiny cartridges. I have one of those crammed in the back. I forgot about it until just now, but in the event I run into something totally weird, I do have that as another option. So there are some of your tips on cooking inside of your van. Again, you can grab these Coleman ovens on Amazon. You usually have to order it and wait a few weeks for them to be shipped. But they are nice to have. They're very nice, compact, fold down nicely. So anyway, there are thoughts there. If you have other fun van questions or whatever else, ask those in the comments down below. Thanks for coming along on Tux Traveler. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. Turn on that notification bell, and we will see you a little bit further down the road.